So today we'll be checking on how our UITF funds are doing. You may go to Google and type in uitf.com.ph. It leads you to this page, and to the upper right, just click on that. Go to returns and performance, and here you'll see the actual performance of all the UITFs offered in insurance companies and banks. So let's click on equity, choose PHP, and then year to date. You can also choose dollars. You can navigate through this, and when you click on that, it allows you to see the top performing funds. Right now, you'll notice that as of September 1, the top one fund is American Growth Fund, doing 31% year to date. And the actual top 4 funds are Manulife offshore funds. So the characteristics of these are, it's invested in offshore investments outside the Philippines. And just going over all of the funds, what you'll notice is other funds are still recovering. So what explains this is that Philippine economy in general is still recovering and is projected to bounce back by 2022. Why? Because it's just now that we're having COVID vaccines, right? So versus the US and other countries which have herd immunity, where you experience that their economy is much open because the restaurants, malls, it's open, people are outside already. Unlike here in the Philippines, we're still experiencing contracted economy. So with that, let's go ahead and just give some characteristics of the top performing funds. So what I'd like to guide you with this as we go through this is just the thought of diversification. I can imagine you yourself, you're invested in other assets. Possibly your money is in real estate. You might also have a VL fund. You may have UITFs in the banks, right? You may be in crypto, you may be in Forex. So all of those are definitely your call. So I'd like to share this with you to see how it can benefit you, right? So it may be a good complement to what you're already doing. And specifically if your money is in the bank or in bonds or more conservative yielding vehicles, you may check this. So you can check it a little amount of money at a time, just so you get to have the feel of it. When you feel that it works for you, then you can be more comfortable to add, right? The important thing there is to have awareness that these kinds of gains exist. So for the first fund is American Growth Equity Feeder Fund. So the characteristic of this is, you know how Manulife is a multinational company? So this is actually managed by Manulife in Boston, and it's placed in Facebook, in Amazon, it's placed in Apple. So these are the companies where it's placed. Year to date, it's 31%, and minimum amount invested is just 5,000 pesos or $100. So you may experiment even. Note that minimum holding time is just 30 days. So if you want to get the money in next year, 3 years, 5 years, you may. So imagine if you placed $1 million by start of the year, it would have grown to 300,000 already, given 31%. If it was 100,000, it would have grown to 300 or 31,000, right? If it's a simple 10,000, you earn 3,000 from it. So if you ask me, is it always like this? We don't really know the market, especially in this condition that we have now. But what I'm really painting here is the fundamentals that one, you are in the superpower nation, right? And you have expert fund managers taking care of it. So as you continue to do well in your field, if you're a professional, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an OFW, or if money you're putting here is your lifelong, savings in the bank, you just want to get a little amount to experience some growth, you can continue to do good in what you're doing and have expert people take care of your funds. Case in point, the fund management team of Manulife is actually awarded by Asset Benchmark, which is a reputable award-giving body which awards investment houses which has expertise in their field. Over to the second performing fund, and the third is Manulife Asia Pacific REIT Fund. REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust Fund. So minimum amount to place here is 50,000. And it's placed in REIT properties, specifically in Asia, most of which are in Singapore. There's also in Hong Kong and Australia. Most are actually in Singapore, the likes of Raffles Hotel and Clarke Quay. So you know how in the Philippines, the owners of malls are families like the Ayalas, the C's, right? In other parts of the globe, specifically there, it operates as a REIT entity. So what happens is the investors places money. So in essence, you're like part owner of it. So thereby you also get profits. In this case, there's a biannual payout happening every January and July. So when you enroll for this, you actually also appoint a bank account to which the money will be deposited to. Okay, so right now it's doing 5%. It's doing really well. Springboarding from the success of Asia Pacific REIT, a new fund was introduced just this year. It's Global REIT. So at this time of recording in September, so you're pretty much getting the initial public offer, given that it was just launched July of this year. Okay, so that right there is an opportunity. So how does it look like? So it operates as a REIT, which is placed in the US or in Northern America and Canada and the UK. And as I mentioned, the opportunity right now is offshore, right? You can just imagine the Philippines has contracted economy because we have not been vaccinated as a nation versus a nation which has herd immunity. So right there, you see the impact of this COVID situation in the economy. Okay, so that is an important opportunity for you. Global REIT Fund. So minimum 50,000, minimum time. Our holding period is also 30 days. Fund management fee for these UITFs are 1.75% per annum. Beyond that, it's actually just it. You'll just have a 1% redemption fee if you withdraw within 30 days. Okay, so to which no one has really availed of that, because you can easily just pull out if you don't want it. If you have any need for the money, you can just pull it out after a month. It's fine. Okay, so but basically, if you want it to work for you, if you have a 3 to 5 year mindset or use of it, or even next year, you may go ahead and experience it. And the fourth fund is Asia Best Select, where it's placed in technology companies in Asia. So that's a keyword, technology. It's mostly in Taiwan and Hong Kong, the likes of Samsung, Hyundai, Tencent. So those are the companies that it's placed in. So what I want to highlight is when it comes to investment, the important thing is you believe in where you're invested. If you believe in technology, go ahead, place in Asia Pacific or Asia Best Select. If you believe in the idea of real estate, where it poses a stable source of income, you may place there. Okay, so those are just updates. Some more updates are, well, this year in 2021, 3 funds have stood out. Well, actually 4. There's Global Healthcare Fund. So that's placed in by the name itself, pharmaceuticals, global companies like the likes of Johnson & Johnson. So there, minimum 5,000 also. Asia Pacific is 5,000 minimum. Global REIT is 50,000 minimum because it has payouts. And India, feeder fund. So India is positioned to be the next powerhouse in terms of manufacturing, given that they are a large nation. Their population is pretty young at 28 median age, and they have low cost labor. And they're also formalizing their economy. So those are opportunities for you right now. You may, and of course, again, the way you get to understand these things is if you yourself are invested. So you may try it, even just 1 foot in, a little money, as you build your confidence in it, and as you see how it's performing vis-a-vis your other investments, then you can just be more confident to top up, right? Anyway, you can withdraw after 30 days also. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. And when you find anything that you want to clarify about, feel free to connect with me, and I'll be glad to assist you. Oh, one more thing, if you're asking on how you can get started, it's pretty simple. I'll just send you a link. You'll just intuitively fill it out. You'll upload your ID for identification, right? Driver's license or your UMID ID. And you'll also just be uploading your payment, whether you go to the bank to deposit it, because along the way, when you transact and subscribe to UITFs, you'll get a bank account to which you'll send the money. So you can just deposit money over the bank, or you can do online payment using BDO, HSBC, or Metro Bank. Okay, so any more questions, feel free to connect with me, and happy investing.